My name is John Gross, and Tom has told me an awfully lot about you. And I'm terribly sorry that you've gotten the C word. And but I want you to know that I have also had cancer of the colon and cancer of lung cancer, both. And I have recovered from both of them. I also, 12 years ago, had what they call a heart transplant. And basically some medication that I was taking caused the cancer. I'm also doing dialysis now 3 days a week because unfortunately my kidneys went away and I'm looking for a kidney transplant. I got to tell you that throughout all of these particular ordeals, you've got to stay very close to your wife, who is going to be your best support element that there is ever. And the most important support element that you've got is God. And I never lost faith that whatever happened to me happened because I was in God's hands, number one. And I firmly believe that if you place yourself in His hands totally, that He'll do with you exactly what He did with me, no matter what. And a doctor can't save your life, but Jesus can. As a matter of fact, before I had the heart transplant, they told me that I had cancer of the colon, and that it was operable. That was a good news. The bad news was that I didn't have enough heart to go through surgery. And I'll tell you what, at that point, and a long time before that, when I was in a coma, but at that point I knew that God was watching over me. And when they wheeled me into the operating room, the head of the operating nurse asked me if I was frightened. And I told her, no, actually there's only two things that's going to happen to me. The best thing that's going to happen to me is that the surgery is not going to be successful. And I'm going to die and go with God. And I'll be with Him. The other thing was that it was going to be successful, the surgery would be successful, and I'd have to spend the rest of my life with you turkeys down here. The surgical nurse was laughing so hard, she wet her pants. So,
what year was that, John?
That was 1995.
Wow.
And so...
You've been cancer-free from then till what year? And then?
Well, I was cancer-free then until they discovered that I had lung cancer. That happened to be 2006, when I went in for an ordinary, they were going to give me a CAT scan just to find out whether or not, how I was doing. And I thought I was doing just marvelously. They told me that I had lung cancer, and that from what they could see from the scan, it was covering both lungs to the event that it was impossible to surgically remove it. The colon surgery, they took out 18 inches of my colon, and I've been just fine ever since. So, but when they told me that I had to have this, you know, the surgery would not even work. That was after they did, I forgot what they call it.
CAT scan.
A lung resection. They did a lung resection.
Surgery?
And which was a surgical deal, and they just deflated my lung and pulled it out through my ribs and discovered that it was just covered with cancer. So they just put it back in, stapled it together, put it back in, and inflated the lung, and sent me back to the oncologist. And the oncologist said that there's only one thing they can do, because it's just you would never survive that much surgery, you know, without, and they could possibly do a lung transplant on both lungs, but that'd be difficult. And so I said, well, let's hit with the chemotherapy. And I'll tell you what, the first round of chemotherapy that I had caused my hair to go away, which is not too nice because I've got a pretty good hair. You can tell it grew back, you know. And I always had a pretty good head of hair. And made a big difference in my life because I laid down one time and I asked God, and I said, how come? You know, how come I got this lungs cancer? And I asked him, am I going to survive this, or are you going to take me back now? If you want me back, take me. You know, because listen, you're going to be better off going if you have to go anyway. But keep a stiff upper lip, bud. It makes a big difference in your whole attitude as to whether or not you're going to survive anything. And keep a positive attitude that you're in God's hands and He wants to do the best there is for you. I always have. And I know I'll either get a kidney or I'll have to endure this stupid dialysis, which I go through 3 days a week from 7 in the morning until noon, and that wipes me out for the rest of the day. But the day in between, I'm rare to go. And so now in the morning, I'll be going back into dialysis. And but I got to tell you that cancer and the chemotherapy that I went through for a year ended right before Christmas, and I was just so thankful. That was the best Christmas present I could get. And I got to tell you, I'm real happy that Tommy has taken such good care of you, because I'll tell you what, he's been a big supporter of mine, and I don't know if I'd still be around if it wasn't for Tommy.
Lift your glass. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers, Raphael.
Cheers, Raphael, and hope that you have no problems. And listen, if you want to call me, my telephone number is area code 732-449-7144. You and I can talk direct. I don't remember what the government, you know, what the state's code is.
Thanks,
I'm
John.
sure you do.
Thanks, John.